he arrests you if he knows about shit like happened, like he knows that basically because
the whole idea was to, just to sort of like do favors for your buddies, but it doesn't go all the way because there's like child killer rapist, this guy Paul Bernardo in Canada back in the 80s, and he is a Freemason, and he actually was able to, they were looking for someone for a while that was a bad apple, and his lodge buddies and stuff pulled the detectives off the case. But then finally it became apparent that, yeah, it's him. He's the bad guy, and he's still in jail. Actually, there's this other guy that, if you look him up, he's called Colonel Russell Williams. And you can find pictures of him anyway. Just Google him, and he's good. Like, he was killed at least 2 women, and he would wear their panties and stuff, and took pictures of them. He knew this guy Paul Bernardo at least in university. So I think that some of these guys get involved in these rituals, and it becomes like the mental illness, and then they just get greedy and they just want to exploit people. And I just think that. Personally, I just can't stand it. I can't stand the style of it. I just didn't want anything to do with it, and they just kind of like hassle you because I think they probably feel bad about themselves because they know that it's just disgusting.
It is just. Let me ask you. I mean, you're in a dick worshipping cult. I mean, hey guys, I ain't making this shit up. He didn't disagree with anything I said.
I didn't. Fortunately, I went to about 6 meetings at the lowest level, and so basically, I got out of there.
I got to tell you something about my buddy TKRA. He's like, he's a very cautious person. Like, he knows he's done conspiracy theory longer than I have. He knows everything I just said is 100% right. He just won't say it. Okay, I'm not going to ask you based on your personal lodge experience. Have you heard that other lodges, there'd be like criminals, known criminals, and police officers being members of the same lodge?
Oh, well, yeah, there's lots of, that's actually what I got into. I think that's what got me into so much trouble, is because I was pushed in to a lodge by a guy that was confirmably, I didn't really know it at the time because he was working on a business with me. So, okay, fine, he used to be a drug dealer, but he pushed me into this place with drug police. So I think that's why everything got so topsy-turvy for me, and I ended up being kind of stalked. And I just quit all of this idea because I don't know, I think that they wanted to get into business and maybe launder money for all I know. I don't know what they wanted to do. I just decided, I said, the world needs morals. We don't really need an eBay and a big shopping mall. We actually need morals if we're going to survive. So I went sort of in a different direction and became, I guess, I don't know, is the word pariah maybe? I don't know if that's an action. And so I've had just nothing but problems. I'm still, but people say, well, why didn't they kill you? Well, actually, they have wanted to in the later periods here now. But I've actually been attacked while the feds watch, and then the feds watch me being tortured while they're doing recon on the Masons.
I want to say this, man. Like, within your personal experience, your just research, would you not agree that Freemasonry is inundated with full of Jewish symbols, Jewish words. Basically it's Jewish. It has a shitload of Kabbalah in it.
Well, it's a lot of the foundations of it were supposed to be biblical, so it was supposed to be sort of a Christian thing. The Templars were like an order of the Crusades. So that was, fighting for the Pope right in the Middle East. So everything has sort of the religious roots to it. All I can say is I think what it's become in this day and age is it sort of has spiraled. It's been on a downward spiral into a mafia type organization, and it's just sort of about drugs and money grubbing and stuff. And I think that what they don't realize is that, as far as I can tell, they are not any longer popular. The establishment actually turned against them because of the phone hacking scandals. So one of the news clips in the London Guardian or whatever it is, they actually openly have been denouncing Freemasonry and basically saying, well, what's that woman Middleton, right? She had her phone hacked, and Tony Blair had his phone hacked. Tony Blair's a Roman Catholic now. And so I really think we'll probably maybe end up to sort of more of a traditional sort of religion. And I think like a lot of these people were involved with Freemasonry and stuff, but I think it's kind of like they're in the process of scuttling it, because it's just become this, like you said, like you had said to me before we started recording, these guys are, what the heck was it? They're into I've lost my train of thought. I'll get back to
Let
it.
me say something real quick, man. Like, we had a short discussion before, like, discussing like the development for Masonry. Like, it was needed, like, for many hundreds of years until the end of World War II. At the end of World War II, the elites, they said, like, we don't need this shit anymore. Like, if you all want to have Freemasonry, knock yourselves out.
It's
And
funny
then, like,
you bring that up. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Let me just because the audience didn't hear what we were talking about before. Okay, so like around '60s, you could say like Freemasonry was basically pretty much not growing. I won't say dead.
Right.
But then
right.
like around the I'd say 2000s, they really started doing mass recruiting drive because like it was just full of old people were dying off, right? So they because why I'm saying this right now, why is this so important? Because they got a bunch of new people. They didn't really, let me tell you, like before it was quality over quantity. Now it's just like quantity, man. Like any motherfucker could be a Freemason. I'll tell you right now. The quality people are so they let these fucking assholes, man. They let people who never would have made it, even like been allowed to walk in front of a Masonic lodge.
Yes,
these people have like no self-control. They're all like criminals. They're all like I mean, you could say the old Freemasons were the same shit, but at least they could like hide it, like had some self-respect. These people have no fucking self-respect, dude, man. They don't give a shit. Like they even telling people like, oh yeah, I'm a Freemason, don't fuck with me. I mean, like shitty people, like because Freemasonry is basically a criminal organization, And so, like, but you had this some insight about like Freemasonry is eventually going to be completely discarded, right? In very soon.
That's my theory, my own personal theory, and this isn't really like saying, hey, this is, the doctrine or what's going to happen or disinformation or something. My own thoughts and working theory is I would suspect that Hitler would have been scuttled and the fascist movement would have been scuttled in, say, maybe 1940 or so, because they realized that, it wasn't going to catch on, and then the globalists wouldn't get their world government. And so that was sort of the point of the war. So they basically scuttled Hitler at Dunkirk, whatever, sacrificed his army, the same way as Napoleon lost his army in the cold weather. And so they got rid of all of the fascism, and then they basically, I think they said, okay, we're going to have the technology to do something in, say, 50 or 60 years, but we'll give the win of the war to Harry Truman, who has the bomb, and so the Masons are going to win, and then they will have this huge party and celebrate the way that they destroyed Hitler, and they'll basically turn the world into this big shopping mall. And the population is going up over triple. It's over tripled since the end of the Second World War. And my theory is that the globalists who are logisticians, who are military thinkers, just said, okay, let's hand the party to these guys. Because they will take over the legacy of shame from the Nazis. They will totally bankrupt the planet. And then, personally, I think that the worst possible thing could possibly happen to Freemasonry and all of the members. So I would consider membership to be a death sentence at this point.
Oh yeah,
I would think if you're involved, you need to get out today. And although it might be weird, but who knows, the May 21st thing, remember the end of the world would come? That might have almost been kind of like a joke around the fact that maybe you should have got your demon into your lodge to get out, because that was the spiritual end of the world, he says. But,
yeah, man, you're talking to somebody like, what do you call it, a TKRA. He was a more manly and tougher guy than like, oh, you fucking pussies. Like, he said Freemasonry isn't for him. He made a mistake. He went the first degree, but he figured it out. He turned in his demit. He said, like, I signed this paper. I ain't with y'all anymore.
Yeah.
See that? Fuck y'all. I mean, that's I tell you, man. You can have like no money, have a fucked up live in a fucked up neighborhood, but you have a lot more self-respect than these dickheads. I mean, like these.
I think the thing is you see, even though, like, I literally have been attacked, like they hit me with, and there's these, but the feds aren't like letting on, because it's kind of like what's going on with me is I like do my little podcast, and then I think the Freemasons think that they're torturing me to death, and they're actually doing quite a bit of harm. Like, my life's been really miserable, but I think part of this is just sort of this great big charade that's being run as sort of a matter of, it's like, getting them on the list is like tallying up who thinks that satanic torture is a good thing. And so anybody involved in Freemasonry is just, hey, let's torture this guy to death. They're doing it right in front of the feds that are looking for, the list of names, because they want to depopulate, of course. So if you want to be a Freemason, Go on.
I gotta ask you this, man. Like, you know who Manly P. Hall is, right?
Yeah, he looks exactly like Little Richard.
Yeah, dressed like him too. No, but would you mind giving like a short description of him?
Well, I had his book, that big encyclopedia thing. I got a copy of that in, I don't know, 1992, I think I got that. I started reading through that, and I didn't read the whole thing, and there's no time for that. But I started looking through all of the index of that, said, where's the ethics? Where are the morals? And all that they have is like hornhead this and,
Yes.
cult thing that and magic pole here and magic star there. And then I kind of started to decode this, and I said, well, this is just all a bunch of mumbo jumbo that could be used for like running sort of cult scams. And so you just basically set up, your own little, lodge in your own little neighborhood, throughout history, and just say, hey, this is the cult of Hornhead. Come in and lay down your cash. We're gonna give you the secrets.
So Manly P. Hall was considered the greatest Masonic historian of all time, right?
Well, I think he's pretty good at cataloging. He certainly cataloged all of that stuff, but there's no morals in it that I can discern.
Oh, of course.
It's pretty much morally devoid.
Hey, you know what Freeman Live? Guess what he said? Like,
oh, okay, Freeman, yeah.
You know him, man.
I know of the guy. Yeah, I'm not really. I've watched a couple of shows.
Conspiracy radio host to all the other people who don't know. Oh, like he had like his father was like a high level Freemason, so he gets like basically Freemason is also another fucked up thing. It's like gossip club. They always gossip all the time, tell each other like shit about other people. You know when Manly P. Hall died, guess what happened to him? They found him in his bed, and like they looked at him, his mouth was open. And then, like, all these ants were coming outside of his body, from inside his body outside. And it was like a fucking horror movie. That shows how fucking evil. I'm going to read something right now for you people. This is written by Manly P. Hall, greatest Masonic historian of all time. Okay. Here it goes. It's called The Seething Energies of Lucifer Within Your Hands. TKRA knows about this. The day has come when fellow craftsmen must know and apply their knowledge. The lost key to their grade is the mystery of emotion, which places the energy of the universe at their disposal. Man can only expect to be entrusted with great power by proving his ability to use it constructively and selflessly. When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he may step onward and upward, he must prove his ability to properly apply energy. He must follow in the footsteps of his forefather, Tubal-Cain, who with the mighty strength of the war god, hammered his sword into a plowshare. Dude, that has to be like, if you people out there like can't figure out this is like evil and satanic, man, like you're a bunch of fucking liars. I mean, Freemasonry is like